crisp. All right. The Nintendo GameCube has a special place in a lot of 18 to 35-year-olds' hearts, my own included. And on Christmas Day 2004, my life and my brother's were changed forever when he ripped off the wrapping paper of his open last gift to reveal the Nintendo GameCube. With 2 controllers in Mario Kart Double Dash.
Of course.
Even though it was my brother's game system, he had a large variety of games that I got to watch him play through, and he even made a point to collect a lot of co-op games over the years that I got to join him in on. Yeah, we played games. It was a fun time. Aww. So this episode is dedicated to my brother and all the memories we shared of playing games together. Love you, Brian. Okay, enough of that sappy snot. It's time to get into the video, baby. Haha, yeah. Before we jump into the games, we've got to address the console itself. A simple yet elegant design, the Nintendo GameCube was a noble and daring follow-up to the N64. I personally was first introduced to the console about 20 years ago while walking the aisles of a Sam's Club. Displayed in all of its 480i glory was a TV and game system known as the GameCube. It was at that moment, seeing Sheik from The Legend of Zelda battle these little ice climber dorks, that I knew we had to shop at Sam's Club a lot more now. Excuse me, Ryan Kawakowski, can you not interrupt my filming? That'd be great. Before my brother Brian got his GameCube, our oldest brother Joe had the purple one, and boy oh boy, when I went over to his place, I had never been happier to see Luigi on a screen. Back to the hardware real quick. The controller for the Nintendo GameCube actually looks like if they took the N64 one and was like, yo, let's just invert that shit. Yeah, that's tight. So after you would plug in all the cords to your CRT television and hit the power button, you would be welcomed with this glorious sound. Oh, that's a good noise. After that wonderful noise, you're greeted with a startup menu in the shape of a cube. You know? Because it's the GameCube. It's kind of its thing. From there, you can customize your system options, you can change around the calendar, or you can open up the memory block section. Nintendo made it so that the save files themselves were like little gift previews, and it made for like fun little bonus content. It was fun. And the age of memory cards was definitely a different time because it was before cloud storage. So if you were playing a lot of games and your memory filled up, you kind of had one of 2 options. You could either convince your parents to buy you a new one, which, that ain't happening, Chief. Or you would have to delete some save files. I'd say right here is a perfect time to transition into the games because some actually, when you bought it, would include a memory card. Animal Crossing was a breath of fresh air for the simulation genre upon its release. It captured the hearts of its players with fresh concepts and an innocent wonder of what the world could be. Plus, it helped that it had that memory card because when you plugged that in, you could actually play NES games within the Animal Crossing game you were already playing. When I was a dumb little dude, I had a limited budget on what I could afford for Christmas gifts. And so I saw Animal Crossing and was like, I'm gonna get that for my brother. And guess what? He didn't have any interest in the game at all, but he had a GameCube and I wanted to play it, so that was the only gift I got for him that year. My brother and I have come to terms with the fact that I used to be a little dumb shit, but you know, we've moved on, and I think we're better for it, so. In slightly related news, my roommate is playing the new one, and let me tell you, them graphics crisp. Another game in the simulation genre was the Urbz Sims in the City. Sounds like such a dramatic title. Blank, 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 blank. Similar to The Sims, Urbz placed you in the city instead of suburbia. You could go to rooftop parties, you could hang out with friends in your apartment, and you could also experiment with drugs. I remember making my brother super frustrated a few times because every time he would try and play the game, I would just make my Urbz character make out with his Urbz character, and it made him uncomfortable. The next section is called 007 Games. A few years after GoldenEye was released, 007 Nightfire came out, and let me tell you, my brother and I played the heck out of that game. And we even got in a few heated arguments about it too. Bro, I said no odd job, what the flip? Crazy Taxi, although available on other game systems, became a staple of driving games on the GameCube. And it also spawned the superior knockoff that is Simpsons Road Rage. Being a big Simpsons fan growing up, my brother and I had both of the games, and let me tell you, their meta humor was evidently clear from the moment you started the game.
Threat to public health, eh? That gives me an idea.
What do you think?
Just get to the game already.
Simpsons Hit and Run remains my favorite knockoff of the GTA franchise, and boy oh boy, I don't know what to say next. My brother and I actually laughed a lot, probably a little too much at this clip.
And our ratings will rise to levels unseen since the heyday of Evening Shade.
Oh man, that sounds cool. I mean, oh no, I hope their plan fails.
Need for Speed Underground 2 is an underrated gem in my opinion. There was something so mysterious and a little spoopy about the game. It's set all during nighttime, and the graphics were pretty good for its time, and the controls I'm pretty sure still hold up. You can customize your car, you can do racing missions, but if you just want to hang back, hit cruise control, you can't hit cruise control. Go and cruise on the interstate for a little bit while listening to Riders on the Storm by the Doors. Oh, you bet you could do that. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and Donkey Konga were kind of whack. I think the reason why I never wanted to buy the game is because it got ruined for me while I was playing the demo at Circuit City. Some May I Talk to Your Manager haircut walks up to me and is like, hey, how old are you? And I'm just like, do you work here? And she's like, how old are you? And I'm like, 9.5. And she's like, this is rated E10 and up. And I'm just like, do you work here? Pokemon Colosseum made little 8-year-old Andy kind of go wild because he's like, you're telling me I can take these monsters in dem balls and make them battle each other? In 3D? The gameplay was familiar but fun, and the story itself wasn't all too bad. And I mean, come on, a game that includes this? How could you not like that? Look at him go. My parents didn't really like violent video games growing up, but somehow Soul Calibur 2 broke through the mold. As a lot of you probably already know, each console had their own specific version. So the Xbox had Spawn, PS2 had a Tekken character, and the GameCube, the one that we had, it had The Legend of Zelda's Link Hero. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. While on the subject of Link, I'm going to give a shout out to Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and all the other Zelda entries on the GameCube. I played them growing up, but honestly I had a lot more fun watching my brother play them, so. That said, they're all phenomenal games in their own way, and I don't really have anything new to add to the conversation, so I shan't. Star Fox Adventures was an amazing journey. And I'm not talking about the plot or anything like that. I'm talking about the experience that my brother went through, playing through the whole game and having it built up to this big boss battle at the end. And then for it to have the rug ripped from out underneath him because they're like, hey, you're going to battle this monkey. And you're going to like it. You might be wondering if I'm going to talk about Super Smash Bros. Melee, any of the Star Wars games, Tony Hawk games, and I plan on it. But not in this video, so make sure and hit subscribe and like and all that gobbledygook. Can we get some gobbledygook in the chat, gamers? This better be funny in the edit. Not a sponsor, but if you want to. Excuse me, I'm filming. Animal Crossing was... Holy... He's coming in. Could it be? It's the Nintendo GameCube. No. How was your shopping trip? Come on, we gotta go. Uh-oh. Folks, it's about that time that I'm gonna start talking about my favorite games on the GameCube. Yeah. But first, I gotta talk about some honorable mentions. I may not have played these games, I may have played them and wasn't as affected by them as you guys were, but I still feel I need to mention them because they really defined what the GameCube was overall. Thank you! It's time for the cream of the crop. To start, we're gonna start at the beginning where my brother and I did with Mario Kart Double Dash. Double Dash is what many consider to be the best in the franchise. They took something old and they really made it new again. Are you a non-competitive child afraid of conflict? Well, guess what? You don't have to be as much anymore because now you're on your brother's team instead of having to face him every time and lose. Like a lot. I mean, it really was the next step in co-op gaming because gone were the days of handing your brother a controller that wasn't plugged in so that he could play too. No, now he got to hold a controller and shoot some shells. Hey, let's throw this bad boy on 150cc, go to Baby Park and maybe blast a little bit of Weezer. How does that sound? And to finish out the Mario entries, I need to give a quick shout out to Super Mario Sunshine. Were the graphics for Super Mario Sunshine the greatest? No, not really. Did the story make any sense? Kinda, up until this little baby Bowser dude was just like, hey, Princess Peach, you're my mom. Which implies that Princess Peach and Bowser straight up went and fucked. But I can say that Sunshine offered an immersive experience as a gamer, and at the end of the day, that's all you really need. I mean, to just have fun and just kind of dink around. Plus, you could finally ride Yoshi, and that boy was juiced. For most games based off of a movie franchise, they often are kind of just a shell of what the movie experience was, but that wasn't the case with Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. This game still ranks as one of my favorite co-op experiences I've ever had. The ranking system was super well designed, the power-ups were cool yet still keeping in with the tone of Lord of the Rings, and the final boss fights were actually super satisfying. Plus, you really need to keep in mind that this was before the days of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Skyrim even, so it really had nothing to really base off of except for classic RPGs. Side note, the actors in the film actually voiced their same characters in the video game, and they did little BTS stuff that you could unlock as you played through the game, and some of it's pretty good.
Billy's getting better, but he's not great.
Billy is awful. One of the worst game players of all time.
I think I do have a special gift for gaming.
You'll be playing a two-player game and you'll go, Billy, press X, and he'll be like,
Hang on a minute, hey, wait, which one's X?
Speaking of honorable tie-ins to their film counterparts, you probably saw this coming, Spider-Man 2. I mean, what is there to say? It's a fun game. You see that building in the distance? Yeah, you can swing over to it, and you don't gotta worry about falling to your mysterious death because of a fog. You can actually walk the streets of New York now. Whoa! You got to battle villains that weren't in the movie but still made sense with the story of the game and everything. Plus, you got to deliver pizza! Spider-Man 2 became the novel example of how to create a superhero game. What?
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
Timesplitters 2 provided hours, if not days worth of entertainment for my brother and I. Thing is, we never even played through the first one, and I barely remember the story mode, so I think the story structure is a little scrambled in my head. So there's these secret agents, right? And they're on this secret mission through time. They're splitting time. 2. All I know is the gingerbread man is there and he's got dual wielding pump shotguns and he's just blasting. Bang, bang. My brother would always play as the angel character and I would always play as the monkey because he had a built-in handicap of being like only 2 feet tall. So whenever you would be playing with other people, they'd have to be like, ah, shit, how do I aim? And then aim down. By that time, I at least got one shot, although I sucked. I think Timesplitters 2 is so nostalgic for me because it doesn't really get mentioned in best of lists. I mean, the characters are wacky, the mechanics were solid, and Timesplitters 2 was just simply underrated. GameCube games are such a large part of my childhood, but it's not the games that I remember most. It's the memories my brother and I got from playing them together. We'd laugh every time the mailman from Twilight Princess would approach and go, da, 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 da. We'd rage every time we would play Super Smash Bros. Melee and one of us almost wins, but the other one does instead. And we'd bond every time we played the Nintendo GameCube. Hey, thank you for watching my little thing. It's happening, baby. Video number 2 in the drawer. Guys, I hope I gave you a proper nostalgia trip if that's what you were looking for. If you just wanted a quick little laugh, I hope I made you do that. But thank you for joining me today. If you want to see more videos, make sure to hit subscribe and like this if you actually did. Otherwise, I've been Andy, you've been Dandy, and thanks for watching. That was terrible. Better. Best. This is obnoxious.